This is the Marshall Origin 20, and if you've been chasing that real tube plexitone, this amp might be for you. Oh, and the best part, it's a fraction of the cost of the real thing. So let's go. My name's AJ, and thank you for stopping by for another video. Today, we are gonna dive into the Marshall Origin 20. At the time of filming this video, it is February 2025. This amp has been around for about 6 years, and it's still in production today. This amp is inspired by vintage Marshall amps such as the 1959 SLP and the JTM 45. But the beautiful thing about this amp is that it's an import model. It is made in Vietnam, and it has the price tag of about $600, which you and I know is a fraction of what a vintage Plexi cost and a fraction of what the new studio versions cost. Now let's quickly go through some of its specs. This amp is powered by 3 ECC83 preamp tubes and 2 EL34 power tubes. It has a 10-inch Celestion speaker, gain and master control so you can dial in that perfect crunch, the classic 3-band EQ and presence knobs, a unique control called the tilt control, which pays tribute to the inputs of old school Plexis. I'm gonna show you exactly what this does later in the video. And it has a built-in attenuator, so you can go from 20 watts to 3 watts to 0.5 watts. And if you think 20 watts is not loud enough to gig, I actually took this amp at my last show, which was at the Roxy here in Vancouver, which is, I think, about a 200-seat club, and it was plenty loud for that venue. So you'll have no problem playing this at your local gig, and it's also awesome for playing at home. I actually keep it at 0.3 watts when I'm just recording or playing with it in the studio here at my house. All right, let's plug a guitar in and dial this thing up. The signal chain today is we're using my custom built Jazzmaster with the Seymour Duncan Invader pickup. Now we're also gonna utilize the split coil, so we're gonna do some single coil stuff with this guitar into my simple pedal board down below, right into the Origin 20. We are not miking up this amp today. We are using the Torpedo Captor X as our cab sims. I have a 4x12 with Celestions dialed up into the Apollo, into Logic Pro. All right, the first sound I wanna show you guys is what this thing sounds like right out of the box. All the knobs are at noon. The boost is not engaged, and we are in the high output setting. Let's see what that sounds like. Right out of the gate, I think that sounds phenomenal, but I think it needs a little bit more gain. So let's turn up this gain to about 9 o'clock, and let's see what that sounds like. Now we're getting closer to what I feel like a Plexi should sound like. Now let's engage the boost, and this thing really opens up. Check this out. Just with those settings alone, this amp sounds so badass. That is what a Plexi to me sounds like. Now I'm gonna dial in the EQ how I usually set it. So I'm gonna turn the bass a little bit, the mid down, and the treble, and I think that's good. Now I wanna show you guys what the tilt control does. Now, if you're not familiar with Plexi amps, they had 4 inputs, 2 normal and 2 bright. So you had to pick one of those inputs for your guitar signal. But what players used to do is they would jump the high and the low with like a short cable, and then you would engage both the bright and the normal channel, and you would have a bigger Plexi sound. And that's what this tilt control does. Now, when the tilt control is at 0, that is basically the normal channel of a Plexi. This is what it sounds like. Now, if we turn that tilt control to 10, it basically is mimicking the bright channel of a Plexi. This is what that sounds like. So that's why I like to roll the tilt right about in the middle. That way you can have the best of both worlds. You have the normal channel and all that low end, and you also get the brightness of the bright channel. So it's an equal split of the two. That's why I roll it right down the middle. A really cool thing I love about Plexis is that they clean up really nice, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here. I know this is a 1-channel amp, and this is how I basically set my bass tone. I have the gain pretty high, but with this guitar, I'm gonna go single coil, and I'm gonna turn down the volume. That's how we're gonna control the gain, and this is what that sounds like. I'm also gonna use some reverb and some delay and some modulation, and it's gonna be some nice, jangly, beautiful cleans. All right, now for my high gain friends. As you probably know, Plexis are not known to be high gain amps, but the beautiful thing about Plexis is that they take overdrive pedals so well, and that's exactly how I use this amp, and that's exactly how I use it in all my recordings when I'm going for that really heavy, aggressive, distorted sound. On my pedal board right now, I have a TC Electronic Zeus, which is a Klon style pedal. It's an overdrive pedal that's supposed to be transparent, and why I love it is because it keeps the tone of the Marshall Plexi. So it's like a Marshall Plexi on steroids. Then I like to drive that pedal into the plimsoll from Full Tone, and this is a really cool pedal because it's overdrive / distortion pedal. I like to keep it closer to the overdrive so I have gain staging of overdrives. And that's how I get these massive guitar tones, and that's what I use this amp for. Let me show you guys from a song that I wrote called Pins and Needles. that is the Marshall Origin 20. Comment down below if you have this amp and let me know how you use it, or just comment down below if you want to try this amp out. Now, I don't have any insider information from Marshall or anything like that, but I just have a feeling this amp is gonna be discontinued pretty soon, which is very sad because, again, I am a big fan of this amp, so you should try to get your hands on it while you still can. Now, if you like other British amps, you might like the Vox AC15. I made a video about that. I'll post it right here. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.